Brazil IT Plus, Rocket.Chat. Compliance and privacy in Workstream collaboration.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Fernando Cariello. I'm with Brazil IT.
Like Microsoft Teams.
Brazil IT is an initiative partly sponsored by Softex and Apex Brazil to support international companies, Brazilian companies to come to the United States. And tonight, we have a pleasure to have here with me Mr. Gabriel Engel from Rocket.Chat. Rocket.Chat, he's going to explain a little more. They have probably over 500 customers in this show only. It's a platform for communication. I have a pleasure to have you here. Mr. Gabriel, please, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Is it working? Yeah, okay. So guys, thank you for coming here. I'm going to tell a little bit about how some of the companies that are here achieved compliance and privacy in their Workstream collaboration, and also in some other features on their communication platforms using our using Rocket.Chat. So Rocket.Chat, just like setting the stage, is a collaboration, is a lot beyond team collaboration. It's a full communication hub for the enterprise, where you have full control over where the data is stored, how you connect to all the devices, all your social network profiles, all your customer services accounts, and you bring this all into a centralized place when you can plug in all your bots, all your artificial intelligence, all your natural language interpreters, and then you really own your data, you own your conversation. You're not relying on someone else's network, someone else's servers, on someone else's solutions, right? We have just a few numbers. We are an open source platform. The core of the application is open source. There is over 1,000 developers worldwide developing our solution. We have more than 10 million users spread around the globe in over literally every single country in the world, and over 500,000 servers that have been deployed everywhere. The main vision for Rocket.Chat, what we started off by building, is because we believe that enterprise communication have been broken. Been broken by companies like Microsoft, like Slack, like all those guys who build proprietary solutions that just happen to build silos of communication. And you used to live in a world where you can send a message to anyone, you could send an email to anyone. It didn't matter who was hosting their email, who was talking to them. And now you live in an era where all this is in different silos, and we cannot talk to each other anymore because you need to know what platform that guy or that guy is using. And then we find sometimes companies who have found even this complexity inside their own network. We have customers that have about 30 different collaboration platforms inside their own network. So not even their employees are able to talk to themselves. And I'm not even saying how can they talk to the customer? How can they talk to their partners or suppliers? So what we see on the market today, the companies that are trying to address this, they see this as a very narrow focused solution. So you have companies working on team collaboration, some other companies working on customer service, some other solutions that actually target intercompany communication. But Rocket.Chat is the only one that was built from the ground up, thinking that it's a hub of communication. It can actually integrate, have bridges to all those other systems. And it has an open protocol and can integrate it all together in a way that is open, is not proprietary protocol, and it can be shared. It comes with all your expected features. So if you ever use Microsoft Teams or Slack or one of our competitors, so you have all those channels, private rooms, sharing files. We have all the connections and synchronizing users with your LDAP or Active Directory. If you create your users and put them into some departments on your Active Directory, they automatically be assigned into groups and channels inside your communication platform. If they are disconnected or terminated in your company, they automatically be blocked or disconnected. We have this omni-channel infrastructure to WhatsApp for business, Facebook pages, your Telegram, even you can even use the RSDK to build chat inside your own web, your own mobile application. So above this, and having this presence both for omnichannel, team collaboration, and connecting to all your DevOps and ShepTops tools, we managed to build a tool that is so powerful that last year, like according to these two researches, we are on the top 10 applications in US, both for live chat communication for customers and team collaboration. So I think it's quite rather impressive to be among those top 10, but as you can see, we're the only solution that managed to be on those two places between all of the competitors. Because we believe if you have someone on your team, if you're really customer-centric, if you're really talking to your customers, and let's imagine you have an agent and is trying to solve a customer problem, and they have to jump into another tool for team collaboration to talk to engineer or talk to the director and get something approved. That breaks the communication in a way, like you're missing information, you're missing the history. So Rocket.Chat works in a way that we all on the same platform, we all on the same communication. So first the bot tries to talk to the customer. If the customer is not satisfied, it can hand over to a human. If the human needs the technical guy to join the conversation and solve the problem, it can just add the technical guy to the conversation, or the director, or anyone. And this proves to be quite powerful. And I have some use cases where I want to get to tell you guys. So for instance, here we have some high-tech, some logos that you might know, like some high-tech companies who put a high value on the content of their conversations. Those are companies that cannot think about having their engineers or employees sharing designs or ideas or concepts for new products on someone else's platform, in someone else's server. We've known like number of occasions on someone else's platform it can be hacked. So those guys already have put a lot of effort protecting the infrastructure. And I think we want to have our conversation happening inside our infrastructure. So what did they need? They needed like a high security. They wanted to migrate from HipChat. If some of you guys might have used HipChat before, you know that it was discontinued. Those guys wanted to migrate from HipChat, keep all the high security features to do team collaboration and DevOps. So what they did, they used Rocket.Chat to do a self-hosted, migrate all the data. We have import tools and keep inside their security policies and data retention policies. We have even some other clients, what they did is they started Rocket.Chat for team collaboration, and then they realized all the power of the tool, and they said, okay, if we can use this to have our team talking Rocket.Chat, what if we now can talk to our customers? So for instance, we have a company here, Deutsche Bahn, in Europe. They run all the trains and the buses, all the public transport pretty much in Germany. And they feel like they have a very slow way to talk to their travelers, to the people using the service. And they say like, well, we already have our team and our bots integrated into Rocket.Chat. Can we get all our users to come and actually talk to our team, to our agents, to our support team that is already there? So they built bridges into SMS. SMS do a big thing in Germany. People rather send a text message than install any other app. So they were sending SMS to the Deutsche Bahn number. It goes into Rocket.Chat. Rocket.Chat distributes, depending on the skill, depending on the question, get all the bots to generate answers for those questions. And in the case of Deutsche Bahn, they have something very strong for them, that they want to keep the human touch. So they didn't want to have bots talking to people ever, because they thought that people would just stop using the servers if they realized they were talking to a bot. So because of the nature of Rocket.Chat being open source and how they could customize it, they built a whole panel for the agents on the right side of the software, where the bots, rather than replying to the customer, the bots would try to make their best answers, and they would run 5 different bots and different intelligence systems to build those 5 answers, so the agent can just choose what is the best answer, or mix 2 of them, and then complete the answer back to the traveler, and then send it back. They were having a system that would take about like 4 or 5 minutes before. It was quite manual. With Rocket.Chat and all this automation and using these different bots, and they could like rank the best bot who was performing best on each question. They get it down to 20 seconds with a much higher satisfaction rates. So this was a classic example where the technical team started using for team collaboration, They were faced with a challenge on how to bring the bots to talk to customers on an omni-channel environment, and they just extended and connected the dots and the plugins and extensions of Rocket.Chat to build that. And they have other customers here like Daimler, who has connected some of their dealers in US, and Alior Bank, which is the largest bank in Poland, that also started using Rocket.Chat internally, and now is embedded into their mobile application so they do good customer service. And also we have customers that they come because of the nature of the whole omni-channel. We have Credit Suisse in the Asia Pacific and British Telecom in England, where for them the key point is we want to talk to our customer, we want to have this omni-channel platform, but we need something you can customize, you can integrate into all our legacy systems that now hold all this data, all this information about our customers, that we cannot like just push or have a nice UI into those other proprietary systems. So they chose Rocket.Chat because of the level of customization that allows them to do. It really allows them to change the UI, add new components, bring it up, data from older systems in the middle of the conversation, and not just as a message inside of the conversation, but having a whole area on the interface where they can surface information from other systems that knows the context, know what's happening, and allows them to be faster, the agents to talk and be faster. In their case, it was important there will be a white label version. They didn't want their customers to be invited to a third-party chat. And also, in the Credit Suisse, they had an even more specific challenge, where all the files shared between customers and their the manager of their accounts need to be stored on a specific type of vault. So they're not happy with what we had to store files. They said they have a specific vault, they have a compliance with some regulations that they have that scans all those files that have been shared for bank account information and other like type of content that might be private, so they can lock out. They will tag the type of file depending on the type. So they were able to completely rewrite the way Rocket.Chat stores files to use their specific self-built file system that does this scanning and does this archiving and data retention according to their own rules and laws. And something that they couldn't get in any other platform, because again, like the open source nature allow you to mix and match all that's already built in with stuff that you want to have a different behavior for your own organization. And then you can go sometimes for companies that have even higher requirements. Those are our clients that have ITARS requirements because they deal with government defense systems. So they want to be able to use team collaboration, but they have to be compliant with a lot of rules about who touched the data, who is able to touch their infrastructure. They have a whole rule about not being non-US citizens not being allowed to get close or even giving support to this kind of systems. So this was the only way and the best tool that they found to give their developers, their engineers, the modern type of collaboration tools, but also giving them full control about where that data is stored, how is it run, who is touching it, and how is it managed. And I can go even further, because who can then be more even restrict than the US government itself? So those are like two customers that we have on the US government. The Department of Defense, DISA, themselves, and the Naval Air System Command, where they have very specific requirements. And I think we have an interesting relationship with the Navy, where back in the day when we first started the project as an open source, they were the first guys that came to us and like, we have a very specific requirements. Depending on the channel, we need to put a banner on top saying this is top classified information, depending on who are the people in the channel, depending on what is being taught. And so we didn't have that feature at the time, and they actually built the whole system, the whole permission layer, and then did a pull request, send all the code back to us 6 months after, because they're customized in such a way they could configure to be used inside the DoD. And then we said, okay, this is perfect. This fits. If it's good enough, to suit the DoD requirements and how you do all these banners, it must be good for anyone else. So we're proud to say that we even have the help from the Department of Defense of building the permission layer and all the configuration. And I think going to a completely opposite, then we have these other companies or communities, Hyperledger, NASA, and Canonical, and Ubuntu. They don't just use Rocket.Chat internally, but they actually use Rocket.Chat to be the way they communicate with their community, how they organize the community. If you go to the Hyperledger website, the Hyperledger being the blockchain that is used by IBM, they build all the blockchain products from IBM on top of this open source project from the Linux Foundation. And all this community is organized on the back on a Rocket.Chat server. That's how they talk about it's distributed all around the world. They talk about how they are built new features, the release cycle. It's how they organize a very distributed development team with hundreds, if not thousands, of developers worldwide. And for them, the key thing is how, if the Linux Foundation already have all the forums and other systems using a centralized user management system, how you get a chat application that can integrate and use a single sign-on with that, and give all those features and connect to all our development tools. So they choose Rocket.Chat. NASA this week just run again the Space Apps Challenge, International Space Apps Challenge, and they chose Rocket.Chat to be the way where they organized, I think it was over 100 cities around the world building apps and participating on this challenge. And this way they could motivate, organize, get all the different teams around the world talking to the specialists that were also distributed around the world. So for them it was a very strong way to engage the community on the conversation and then make sure the project was a huge success. It's already the second year that Rocket.Chat is chosen to be the tool to engage the community. I think maybe I went a little bit ahead of myself. I wanted to talk about these different use cases. And the whole message behind is we give you really the core of an application that have all the features of our competitors, but in a way that give you the control and you the flexibility to take what the industry is taking as a standard right now, like all those extensions, and think how you can go beyond. And then there's no limit on what you can build, what you can integrate, what other features you can build, what other parts of the application and other information from your organization can surface on the middle of the conversation. So thank you for giving your time, and I would love to hear if you guys have any questions, or I'd love to answer it. Oh yeah, get the microphone back. So I think one of the big use cases is asking about IoT devices. It's actually that. We have a few organizations, even like back home. I am from Brazil, and in Brazil, one of our cities wanted to automate a way for the police to find out about stolen cars. So they installed cameras in many different places on the city that could do capturing the plates of cars that were passing by. They would automatically find out if that was a stolen car, or maybe they didn't pay the license and needed to be tracked. And then they didn't give it a quick way to say, like, how can you deliver the information when you find out about a car to the police officers in the road, like the road patrol guys. So the way they found out is they actually deployed Rocket.Chat for all the municipal guards. They added a geolocation feature so they could know where all those guys were. And the bots from each of those cameras, once they found out that a car was stolen or for some other reason needed to be approached, they would broadcast a message with a geolocation tag. So only the police officers in that area would receive that message on a channel, and that they could then approach and get that car. So this is a very interesting use of geolocation, IoT devices, government trying to speed up the pace, on technology using an open source tool to solve the issue. And I think, again, one of the very things at the core of Rocket.Chat is that we are humble enough to know that we haven't built all the solution, and this is is not the final product, the final solution, but it really have what you expect and gives you all the power to build something on top that it suits your industry or your organization, or maybe build something better. Yeah, so please, we are on the booth here on this pavilion, 321, and I would love to give you more example or give you more details about any of those use cases, or maybe if you bring me a challenge, or challenge me, or tell you how you can use Rocket.Chat to speed up your tech equilibrium.
Thank you for listening. Please visit Gartner.com/events for a list of upcoming events.